I really don't have anything other than say just this is the last week that you can gather requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So, because from this week, now after this week, you are then putting the SRS together with
Okay.
whatever requirements you have.
Right, right.
Just pick out the elicitation techniques that you saw through the presentations and delve out the work to the different team members to use those techniques to give whatever requirements you can get.
Okay, okay.
Sounds good.
I have
Rah, rah,
a
shish kebab.
rah rah shish kebab. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, and that someone asked. So this was also something that we kind of talked about last week. We're talking about building an app that's definitely like the main stakeholders are like BYU students, BYUI students. But one of the parts of the domain analysis is that the app exists somewhere. So we mentioned like at least mentioning something about like the system admins that would have to like interact or maintain it. Do you really care about that, or should we not worry about that? Don't care? Okay. Okay, cool.
Just, whatever the application is designed, all the admin stuff, should be built into the application.
Mm-hmm.
That should, the application should. So did I just sound?
I think that take into consideration those. Okay.
Okay, I'm tired. It's been a long day. Needs to should be taken into account.
Well, I was freezing. Can someone repeat that? Just the last sentence there. Or just post it in the chat.
I think what you're saying is, and that's what holders, but right now we're talking about more about what the users, stakeholders want to see from it, not what caveats we might run into, and being able to integrate it with, their appy or whatever, design an appy with them. But we pretty much know because of the other apps that have been created that there is data available to third-party apps
And you
at
got
a basic level already.
You got the security. How are you going to ensure that the student can only read his or her data? Is it going to just be all on the local device of the user, or is it going to be out there in the cloud? Do you need to manage user IDs? The application API need to use APIs to talk to the school system. You don't need to know the APIs that will be there.
Yeah, and there's a system out there that works with Canvas and Brightspace already that pulls calendar data. Like I have it installed on the Chrome browser, and it pulls in my assignments and stuff. So we can just assume that a certain level of data is again open and available in a secure way to third-party apps to use. But the things that we want to do with it kind of takes the next step, and I think those things that we're doing will be independent right now of what BYUI can provide. So, but yeah, if we were making it really happen, then I think we would want to talk to them, but I think it wouldn't be fruitful for us now.
Right.
Okay, cool. Great. Thank you. Well, I think that's it from us, unless anybody else has more questions for Brother Wild. Okay.
I've gone through the presentations. It's been a long day. It took me all day just to do your guys' class. I got the other class tomorrow now.
Oh, wow.
You guys have some really good presentations. one of the concerns, you probably saw it from, when you looked at the presentations, I was surprised with how many presentations didn't have data. Data for the app that you guys are going to be designing. But that's the main drawback that I saw.
So just that people didn't put
But
them in the presentation?
Pardon?
That people did not put their data in the presentation? Like they didn't show that they actually got some?
Right.
Okay.
That's it on my end.
Okay. Cool.
You guys have anything else? So is this, we want to do this time each week? Is this a set time now? I'm
Yes.
supposed to carve it in stone?
Yes, carve it in stone.
Okay.
Yep.
Will do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good week.
You too. Bye-bye. Cool. All right. We are recording this, but can I also have somebody take notes? Corey did it last week. Anybody up for it? Can you handle 2 screens?
Set up for it right now, but I can plan to do it next week if you'd like.
I can do it tonight.
Thanks, Cameron. I threw a couple notes in the agenda already, and you can take notes there, or you can take them in a separate thing, whatever you want to do. So.
And camera, I've got it pulled up, so if I can see you're typing something and I hear some other stuff, I can try to add that in too.
Cool.
Is it okay if I just add the notes right where
Yep.
you were at, Christine?
Yep, that's great. Cool. All right. Okay.
That link, can you post that in chat?
Yep. Second, let me grab it. Okay, so next item is our weekly plan, and we have some team stuff to talk about too, and we can have like a little icebreaker at the end, but I want to make sure we get like our must-dos at the beginning. And if we go over 45 minutes, Corey has promised that he will put Cheese Whiz up his nose, but so
Let's go.
That's a little extreme, I think. But
all right.
gotta come up with something other than Cheese Whiz. I'm all out.
I know. Oh, darn. All right. Okay. So our plan for this week, I don't know if you guys have looked at it, but basically it's a rough draft is due by the end of the week of the SRS. It is not graded, but we do need to make sure that it's like in good format. So we need to make sure that things are categorized, that we don't have duplicates, that we don't have conflicting information, and that we are getting like the depth of data that we need. For instance, like Brother Wild mentioned, security things, right? And make sure those kind of things are there. So I kind of have an idea of how to do this, which I will mention. And if we want to change it up or whatever, like, let's talk about it. So my thought is that like each team can like come up with their own document, like as a team, get the requirements that people have added, and then go through and make sure that they're like meeting the requirements of like not being ambiguous and such, and like correctly worded, and then categorize them and make sure you don't have conflicting ones, and then we can put them together, and then look through them like as a leads group and make sure that the team-wise they aren't conflicting, because I realize that there are going to be duplicates since people have been on different groups to do the elicitation techniques. And then we can merge them all together. So that's my general thought. I would love to have like the team ones maybe like Thursday night, so we have time, Friday, Saturday to go through them as a leads group, but I don't know if that's too quick, but.
Well, I remember Brother Wild said last week for this one that he didn't care about like duplicates, because I can see us as individual teams, if at least on an individual team basis, we're not trying to duplicate. But
no, I think he was saying we don't have to have yeah, we shouldn't have duplicates.
Well, he was saying is our team, so our group is individual group or individual is submitting something, they don't want to duplicate the other efforts like in their individual team. But when I remember last week, that made me feel a lot better. He says there's going to be a lot of duplicates. He knows that, but this is just raw data. This is just number 0. And then going forward, we'll refine and, cut out the duplicates that happened cross team. But that's why with my team anyways, we divided up a dozen elicitation techniques. So at least we as a team aren't duplicating things. And then when I turn in, I liked your idea of mini SRS. So each of us as a team lead, we can take what our team does and make sure that we're not duplicating ourselves.
Right.
Even though among the 6 teams, there might be some duplication. I think that might lessen the workload and maybe clarify with Brother Wild, but I really think that that will lessen the work for this week because it's something that is planned to happen in future weeks. And it would give everybody a little bit more time. I think if you didn't have that additional step, at least at this point.
Well, I need a job to do. I got to do something. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying we've got to gather all of the data and then get it from them and then reduce the duplication as an individual team. And then the next step, reduce it again. So.
I mean, if you want to do it, like, does it help to do it, by Friday? Like, I guess what's your concern that Thursday isn't enough time kind of thing?
Yeah, especially I won't get home until Wednesday night. I'll be traveling starting about 4:00 tomorrow afternoon and won't get home till Wednesday night. So for me, and I'm meeting with my team on Thursday to do brainstorming so we can actually use our information. So for me, Friday is better, but maybe clarifying with Brother Wild if he doesn't care that there's duplications in this version.
Well, I mean, I kind of would like to make, go through and not have duplications.
Well, I mean, that's
time.
Fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm
have
okay with Friday. Go ahead.
I've got something to add just right here. So I think my concern is I'm going to send this to my team, and I'm sure we were getting ready to get into it next. I just want to be really clear. If we're making like a mini SRS, I would really like a bulleted list of what needs to be to reference for each requirement that we get to make sure each one meets the minimum requirements, if that makes sense. Because I know that's been a big concern with being sure that the ones that we're producing for this are good enough for what we need. But as far as the meetings go, I'm going to send out tonight to my team to let them know what the plan is at the end of the meeting. And then we can all work on our own individually, obviously doing our elicitation, but I'll have to meet with my team this week sometime to put together this mini document. But if you also want to go through and put all of them together, then we would not only have this meeting and a team meeting, but we would all have to come together for another meeting for that too. Or are you talking about you doing that?
Yeah, I would just do it all async. So basically, like, once everybody dumps their team stuff into a document, which I have a link to in the agenda, and I can go through it. Like, I'll put it in the team channel, and as you have time, if you want to go through them, go through and look. But I'll be working on it, and then we can each work on it as you have time. But it's like a task that I'm going to own, but I would love your input as well. So
okay. I think with that structure, I'm less concerned about it because it's not trying to fit more meetings than I even have time for.
We basically become the writers and you become the editor.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So can I just back up? Why are we all writing the SRS document separately as teams?
Well, you're combining what you have from your teams, but what's your thought? You have another idea?
I think it was just to present kind of what each group has gathered as their research, and then Christina would kind of be going through what we all have, getting rid of duplicates, and making it all into one list is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I don't think your team has to worry about doing everything comprehensively. So it's not like your team's we just got a requirement for everything in there. And I think that's what you're asking though, right? Kind of is the scope of it.
Is there a way to divide it up? Like if you had the requirements for the admin people, might be a small enough block. I don't know if there's some way to divide up the requirements for a student.
So I think I have in my mind that we will have that after this week. Like this week, we're going to be like, okay, this is really like the scope. Here's the requirements. These are the categories that we have. What's missing? Like now that it's all combined, like this is what we're all thinking. What's missing? What are our categories? And then like in the weeks forward, now we'll be able to divide up like that area because we still have a few more weeks doing this.
So this week, to me, at least my understanding, was that we're all using these various techniques to basically put a giant list of requirements together that we will then reduce by duplicates and use to sort of finalize just the the list of requirements. So I wasn't thinking that we needed to format it, like, because if you look at the example, you know, it's specially formatted and stuff. I didn't think we were doing this. I just thought it was basically going to be a numbered list of requirements all put together. Is that wrong?
No, I think that's good. It would be great if you categorize whatever you get from your team. Like,
But what categories?
Whatever. That was our elicitation
I know.
technique,
That's
Heather. Like, you get to make up your own categories.
Yeah. You're talking about you want us to open sort them.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Open
All right.
sort. And then I think we'll just see how it looks as they all come together. So, Jonathan, what do you think? Yeah.
What would a requirement look like?
Well, in this week's reading, it would be unambiguous, verifiable.
So
Correct. I mean,
sure.
I'm just thinking.
But I mean, are we going to do this? Are we going to do this in like user story format to say like, as a BYU student, I want to see due dates? I mean, I don't have anything right now for an example, but are we doing this in user story format as requirements, or are we doing I guess that's the only way I know to do requirements.
I know, same.
Is there no requirements?
Yeah, so like I like user stories. That's kind of like my world is user stories. As long as they meet the requirements of like being unambiguous and verifiable and all that stuff, then like I like that. And they mentioned that in the reading too, kind of like there were like effective ways to reveal ambiguity, you know, is like creating user scenarios that, and you know, they don't call them stories in here, but they call them like user scenarios.
And so listing the requirements in that way is acceptable as a way of actually describing what your intent or what you're wanting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I haven't done the reading for today. I have the quiz open and I'm tripping through it.
Would it make sense if I guess I still don't see the value of doing this in teams versus individually. It's almost, if we came up with a requirement, we could just throw it into a Google Doc that everybody can see. And once it's been listed there, we don't have to list it separately.
So like essentially that's kind of what we're doing. Like it depends on how you want to do it as your team. It's more like you as a lead are just going through the duplicates for your team. So I don't have to do it for 27 people, right?
Would it be beneficial if we did one Google Doc that everyone could access and we
can, you know,
then that way we don't worry about duplicates?
Does it apply though for accountability wise? So as a team lead, if I want to get requirements from all of my team members and make sure everybody's done their part. Because if we have a big Google Doc, I guess it tells you, it doesn't, you know what I mean?
There's a version history, but
yeah.
But then wouldn't we be able to say like, hey, let's give a specific, when you give the requirement, like it has to meet the specifications like from the reading. That way it's like, we're not just saying, oh, we're just going to throw this idea because we should be able to find things on a calendar, right? This is a requirement. But like, how is that met? And like go deeper than that. That way, when we give a requirement, it's like the team that did it, you gave something specific. Maybe we want to say, give at least, you know, a certain number. And then that way we contribute and then we filter them out saying, is this something we need or not? I'm just thinking that way we don't have like someone made 10 and another one made 10 and really there's like 7 of them that are duplicates and we're only left with, you know, a shorter list.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm totally fine if we all want to use the same doc, and then you can just kind of see what other people have done. Like, I like it. I mean, I'm fine with that. But you're saying like have each team like have a certain number to contribute, number of
Yeah.
requirements?
Like so to for like quality assurance, so we're not just like throwing things out there, but we're like saying this is a legitimate and this is why.
Mhm,
Then we can say let's at least give like 4 requirements that we can come up with that are unique,
mhm.
and then we can filter out, or maybe something, I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out there so that we're not like throwing and duplicating all the work, that we're coming up with something specific.
Uh-huh.
I think if we have like I mentioned, a bulleted list of our requirements need to meet these like minimums that need, I think that if we limit it like that, people, I mean, because if we're interviewing, we can't just be like, only give me 4 requirements, please. Or like, you only came up with 2 and I need 4, you know what I mean? I think if we limit it like that, like this is just supposed to be about collection. We're not supposed to be narrowing down until after we've collected. So I think if we structure it like that in the beginning, we're kind of narrowing our focus already. We don't know where it's going to take us until we do the collection part. But I do think that we need.
But what's the point of us all putting? I mean, we're all going to have that a BYUI student can easily see their due dates.
Their
Well,
calendar.
we don't know what we're going to get from people until we do the work. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
Well, we've already.
Well, I
I mean,
think
we've
they're-
already
they're-
done half the work. We've already started to collect requirements. I already know that that's
Right.
a requirement that I have seen. So I'm not.
So
I
why don't we
assume from watching your presentations, you've all seen something similar.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we have everybody put all the requirements they have in, like, let's get a single doc. Let's have everybody put them in there, right? And let's go through them. Like, go ahead and see what we've got. Let's categorize them. Like, and there could be somebody on your team or whatever. I'm kind of shooting from the hip here, so run with me. Or maybe we could have a team say, look, we're early. We like to do things early in the week. We're going to categorize everything, right? And then like let's go through it and be like, okay, here's duplicates, here's conflicts, and then we can look at it and be like, okay, what else are we missing? All right, this area, like as a team, we see we're going to take this thing and like do some more elicitation on it. I don't know, what do you think?
Well, what would, and maybe I'm just not understanding because you talk about version control, but in a standard Google Doc, I've never really seen where you can track contributions. So I almost feel like the way the class is set up and designed right now, where we're supposed to be broken up in teams, like kind of like a hierarchy, to basically assure that everybody that we can account for everybody's participation, that our team members, I liked your idea of the mini SRS, or even if it's just, we don't want to call it that, it's like just within our team, because I can account for my 3 team members. I know the work
if you want the accountability, what if at the end of this week, the team leads collect from their teams what they contributed?
You can also use the suggestion.
Not the SRS document, but just tell me what you did.
You can also use the suggestion feature. So if you want, I can show you really quick, but in a Google Doc, you switch it from editing to suggestion. You can have your team member just copy paste all the requirements that they have for the week as a suggestion, and then they can click resolve. And so then it's automatically in the document, and you have it in the version history list of like who contributed what. So do you know how to work that?
I will examine it. If I have issues, I will let you know. But it makes sense what you're telling me. I'll just try it out so I can see it for myself.
Okay.
That's a good idea. I just didn't know how that went. Because, for our ranking, the things that we're supposed to do as far as rating team members, I was like, well, I want to make sure that, everybody, and that you as a PM can, do the part that you need to do with all of us and our teams. And we're just eyes on. So that's reasonable there. Okay.
Okay, cool. So I already have the doc.
Does the teach one another on the responding to people factor into this? I'm kind of confused by what we're supposed to do for our teach one another. But basically, we're supposed to be arguing over requirements, basically.
Hold up. I got to pull it up.
Board topics. Oh, no, I guess we're disagreeing or responding to articles. So I guess it doesn't apply.
Yeah,
I was
you
hoping it
pick, I think we just have to pick one or more of something there and respond appropriately based upon the instructions, whatever, when we have.
Okay. I was hoping it might.
I can't
be-
remember if it tells us
Take
that
one.
we have to have so many responses. I don't think so. It's just,
He
we have to
says
respond
in,
initially.
he says
We
in
could have
the
it.
announcement that you have to have so many. You
Is
have to get
that-
so many points.
Okay, I didn't read his announcements yesterday. It's been a crazy day. I've just barely sat down to stuff, hoping my brain will work as long as it needs to before I'm
I
ready.
need the stuff in a checklist in content. I don't need all this stuff in announcements.
I read through it today, and it's not related to this.
Okay.
except-
So what I'm getting right now is let's have everybody take all the requirements that they have so far. Let's put them in this Google Doc that we've got here. And then let's assign a group of somebodies to categorize and go through. Like, I'm also okay making it loose and be like, whoever is like in there can, I'm fine if people like are interested and want to start categorizing. Like, I'm fine with that. It doesn't have to be limited, but we need some people to own it. So it could be us, or we could,
How are we going to know who contributed what?
all right. Can I share my screen real quick? I will just show you really quick.
So I guess that's an announcement we would need to make clear with our team that they know that they have to do that suggested mode before they do it. So
Yeah.
we
So,
can
right,
effectively.
can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
so right here, it is suggesting. So like if I wanted to, hi there or whatever. So it's going to say here.
Okay.
You can also leave it in suggesting mode. Like if you're like, ooh, I want to change this, but I really want somebody else to comment on it first. And I could be like, that's a terrible idea. We should do something else. And you can click reply. So you have a history of it. And then either someone can come along, or if like I'm just copy pasting, it's the first thing. Like I just need to get everything in here. Just click resolve and then it's in there. So and then
How will we know whose that is?
it's a team lead. You can go through here and you can see the whole document history right here.
Will it like show you what's theirs though?
Yes. See it has the name.
Oh, okay.
It'll say what you did.
Oh yeah. Okay. I see it.
So yep. So there we go. So like Corey,
Alright.
Corey, I can accept that. There we go. So cool. Does that work?
Yeah, no, that's great. So I think
That works.
maybe we can post that, have that posted on like the group wide, like the team. What is it?
Yep.
Say?
Announcements
What's
channel.
that?
Can someone
Yeah.
do like?
I can do a screencast.
That's
I can
what I was
make a
getting ready
GIF.
to ask.
I can
yeah,
make a
if you could just make a quick one, just that little thing, because I've never used it before. I think that'll be super helpful, and nobody should really have any questions after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So who do we want to own this, like categorizing, going through like the first dump? So I'm saying initial dump, like as soon as possible. Are you okay if we as leads own it? Or do you want, like,
I thought that was your baby for the week. Or was that wrong?
not for the entire
have something
28
else?
people. It'll be my baby on Friday.
Oh, that was when we were going to do it separately. Okay. That was when we were doing it separately. That was just the last thing I remember hearing.
Yeah. So, I like all of us owning it unless there's any opposition. I don't want to put it on one team and have somebody feel like a funnel and be like, hey, have you done yet? Like,
Sure. I think it's maybe wise for us as leads to own it. I just don't know that I'd be able to be in there before,
that's
Friday.
okay. That's all right. You know what? Everybody's
To help.
contribution comes and goes.
But it makes sense that among us.
Okay.
So
Okay.
should we just be like, before people post it, should they be making sure there's not duplicates? Or are you just talking about?
I am all for everyone like looking through it, and if they want to delete duplicates or make a suggestion on someone else's, like fine, please do it. Like it's for everyone to learn, right? And we have some people with great experience, so like if they're interested and
Right.
want to do it, like let them do it. I don't want to limit it, but like I said, I just want us to own it. You know what I mean?
So again,
Yeah.
for accountability, wouldn't it be wise to just say everybody put put whatever they have in there under suggested mode.
Mhm.
That way,
Click
They're-
resolve. That's right.
and then click resolve. So we don't want them to like to say, oh, well, I said that, but somebody else already did. So they're not going to get credit for the work that they did because they
Well-
still did work, even though
Yeah.
Right.
they
Copy,
duplicate.
paste.
So,
Click
Okay.
make and suggested,
But-
click resolve, then they can go delete whatever they need to.
Okay, can you hear me through
Um,
this really quick? Or somebody else, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, wordsmithing is going to be critical to this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Two people will have the same requirements, but they're going to use different words, and we need
Right.
to come up with the words that make it all those things that are in the reading this week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's tricky. And
Mhm.
so even if you have the same requirement, you might have words that make it more correct or feasible or all those other things.
Clear.
that we do.
Mhm.
So,
So
so
we
I
also-
mean, if you have the same requirement, what if you just put reply to that person's requirement and said, this is what I came up with.
Yeah.
I think yours is better. Or you can say, this is what I came up with. I would change this word instead of just a dump. Because, I mean, let's say I don't get around to doing mine until Thursday and this gets filled up and most of them are taken. My best effort isn't to go reproduce it. My best effort is to look at what we have and see where improvement can be made.
That's
That'd be my
that's pretty close to what I was gonna say. Like I was gonna walk you through, like, let's say, you know, as individuals, we go out and we do this, and based on my week, I can tell you I probably won't get around to putting my list of things together until Thursday either, because I have to have time to actually do the collection. So I put all that together, and maybe I meet with my team, but maybe not, because honestly, the way you're wanting to do it, we wouldn't really need, other than an organizing with our team, we wouldn't have to meet with them to put individual team documents together. But then let's say everybody else has, a bunch of people have put their stuff up. I go to put mine in and all of my requirements are already there. Either I'm going to be deleting other people's or they're going to be deleting mine. Or what if I'm the first one and mine all get deleted away because somebody else has them and word it? You know what I mean? How do we keep track of what people are doing if everyone's just adding and deleting things?
So even if someone deletes it, it's still in the history.
if you put it in suggested mode.
Correct. So
So in
it
order
doesn't
to
matter
see-
if anybody deletes it. Like if you're worried about like getting credit for doing work, it is in the history. It does not matter if anyone deletes it.
Yeah, just make that, that's why she's doing the screencast, to make sure everybody knows they have to do it in suggested mode. Otherwise,
Yeah, I didn't know it
That
would
wouldn't
stay
be-
in there even if it was deleted. Like
Yep.
if somebody rejects your suggestion, it still stays in
Yep.
the thing.
Yeah, it does.
So
Yep.
in order to see that our team members or whatever have posted, we'll just have to scroll through that and try and find their name.
Yeah. You can also just ask them to tell you when they put it in there. Like, you know? So,
Yeah.
Also, I think we're all going to have plenty of time to participate this whole semester. So I don't know if some people can't for whatever reason. We're going to have, I'm sure, individual team assignments that we're all going to participate in. I think just as a team, we're just trying to focus on getting as many requirements as we can. Not necessarily who does them, but just that we need them.
That's
Right?
That's right, and the particular reason is because there's not a good way to divide it up.
right.
If there was,
Yeah, it's hard to
there was a way
divide
to
this.
divide this up 6 ways, then we would do this as teams. But since
Yeah.
there's not a division of labor,
Yep.
I think we all just make this work.
Yep.
Isn't it a good thing anyways for some of the duplicates, because we're all just going to have data from different ways. So then those duplicates will be strong cases.
Yeah. Like at the moment, I really just want people to put like what they've got. Like I don't want to like stress as much like and be holding back to like write the perfect thing. Like let's just get out there what we've got and let's see what we have to work with, you know?
Yeah. I have one last question about that. So we're putting the requirements in here, and you know what? I got all distracted with the last thing you said. You go ahead, and if I remember it, I'll speak up.
Yeah. So let's ping the teams and have everybody put in the requirements that they have. Go ahead and put it in suggested mode, click resolve. Go through, like read whoever did something before you. If you want to delete some of yours, delete some of yours. If you've got people on your team that are like, I like categorizing stuff, let them do it.
And just to clarify, are we going to do, each team is going to have a Google Doc that they set up to get that info from the team, or are we going to just do the one?
Just do the one.
Okay.
And
I
I'll
finally remembered my question.
go ahead.
Okay. Did you guys touch on, because I was a few minutes late getting Zoom to load, did you cover how many techniques we need to use? I know Michelle was like doing 12 with just her team.
There's no requirement about that. We just need requirements. So
Okay.
Yep.
So just go and collect and
Well,
delete.
in the instructions, when you read through, it states, it kind of is set up both ways, intimating that this is an individual assignment, but should you be doing it as a group, make sure that you're not duplicating efforts, that you only submit one thing. And so that's why I had a meeting with my group and I said, we may come up with duplicate requirements, but at least let's not duplicate our techniques, because it said we should be using several techniques each, not just one technique. So I just had us all just pick 3 techniques that we would use, just so us at least as a team was using different techniques to gather whatever requirements we can, and an attempt not to duplicate efforts as much as possible.
So we want to go ahead and get as many as we can as soon as possible, because that way it will help all the teams as you're doing the rest of your week to know like what areas need focus as well. So like I said, don't worry so much about editing stuff, like just get everybody to put what they've got in there as soon as possible.
It's raw data, as much raw data as possible, and ours doing different techniques.
Not raw data.
To do that.
Data. This isn't raw data, right? I'm serious. Are we doing raw data, or are we doing requirements?
Requirements. So
raw
Because
requirements.
raw data is like what you get back from a survey. Requirements are how you interpret it.
Right.
What
Requirements.
this app needs. And I believe we're doing requirements, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Requirements. So, so just don't have people like wait to write everything perfectly, like until Thursday. Let's get what you've got. Please. And then, but also that's not the end of your week either, right? Like you still need to get more, but the sooner we get some visibility on where we stand, then the easier it's going to be effective in what we're doing for the rest of the team. Does that sound good? Okay. Hopefully we have more than like 12 things, but I know Heather and I wrote 30 for our cards, so we have at least 30 and
30 requirements.
Yeah.
Well, my 12 referred to 12 different techniques, not the number of requirements.
Yeah, totally. So at the end of the day, though, we're going to have like, hundreds. A lot. There's like several pages of them. So, and, they're kind of more like single sentences. You want to just make sure it's one idea. Imagine that you have to make a checklist out of it. So, like when you're writing that requirement, like, can I check this off and be like, yes, this is done. Is there only one thing in it, or are there like 3 things? So, okay. Are we good on that? Okay. We can talk async too, if we have any more questions about that. And then, hang on, I lost my agenda. Team check-in. We have 4 people who have dropped the class. And
who are they?
They are Jenny Jones, which we already knew about, AJ, and
what was that one?
hang on a second.
AJ
AJ Kenner, Jenny Jones, Christian Martinez, and Sarah Olivero.
Okay,
So-
none of mine.
So Ben has had 2 people drop from his group, 1 person from Jonathan's and 1 person from Heather's. So we're going to need to shuffle a little bit on some teams, but we can talk about that async. Just wanted to give you a heads up about that.
I think.
Okay.
Because I've had 1 team member that didn't attend the meeting. I haven't heard response back, so that's why I was curious.
Okay. Yeah. They haven't dropped though. They just are silent. So yeah, let me know. All right.
So are you going to be working on that
My
part?
team-
Team?
Pardon me.
Are you going to be working on arranging teams this
Yeah,
week? Or?
we'll talk. Yeah, we'll just talk offline and decide what we want to do. Corey?
Oh, I was just going to say my team is all intact and they're all great. So if you need to steal a couple people, feel free.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, really quick. We have like 2 minutes. What are you reading right now?
Epic of Gilgamesh.
Oh, so exciting.
Wow.
All right, and go ahead.
I was going to say, I just started book 3 of Antiquity of the Jews by Josephus.
Oh, whoa. I'm impressed. Well, I haven't started
Mine's
reading
for
yet
school, so.
because I don't read, but we actually got to hear the author today, and I got the book signed. Never heard of her before, but now I have her signature. Cheryl Straight.
What's it called?
Wild, and there's a movie about it with Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, maybe I'll read it next year. Okay.
Cool.
Next.
I am not reading much because I'm reading for all of my classes, but
That
on
counts.
my desk for when I have time, I have a poetry book called Milk and Honey, Gut and Psychology Syndrome, which has been sitting here for a year and I haven't read it, and Punished by Rewards, which was on a reading list for one of my classes and it's not been mentioned at all, so who knows?
Cool.
That's what I've got here.
Nice. All right, Jonathan.
Not much of a reader. I read the news.
Okay, cool. It counts. All right.
Lots and lots of analysis. I just read it all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben. What you reading?
Well, I mean, for my class, web development, and then I am reading. But now it's not like fun, but I'm reading through the Tableau.
Green eggs and ham. I saw your cute baby. I'm sure you're reading the books.
Yeah, we have
All
5
right.
minute Halloween Disney stories right now. That's what we're doing.
All right, Cameron, we got 1 minute.
I've been reading this Google Doc that we've been on. Before school started, I was reading American Sniper. I just haven't finished yet.
Cool.
I'm just busy with school reading as well.
Yeah, same. We all are. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, this summer I read 16 books in like 4 days. No, I'm sorry. It was about a week.
Oh, my word. Girl.
Wow.
Fluffy, but that was enjoyment reading.
Cool. We are right on time. Thank you very much. We can chat offline with anything else that comes up.
Quick question.
Yeah?
Were you making the Google Doc, Christina, that we're all going to be writing on?
It's already made. I shared the
Oh,
link.
One
where
in
was
the
that?
chat.
It's also linked in the agenda.
It's in the, oh, perfect.
Mhm.
I
Cool.
did
And I'll
not-
paste it to my group
And
and
we'll put it in the announcements. too.
emphasize how they're supposed
Okay.
to. Okay.
Thank you all. Have
Thank
a wonderful
you.
day.
Have a good
Perfect.
night. Enjoy the rest
Yeah.
of your fun
Okay,
stuff.
bye-bye.